Hi, folks. Charles Jama here, CD Financial, Federal Benefits Simplified. So, with that being said, I want to make sure that everybody logging in right now is a federal employee. That a lot of you are working Department of Defense at various military bases. Let's just make sure that you are not military personnel, but that you are civilian personnel, or FBI, DEA, Department of Treasury, federal courts, SBA, FDIC, whoever you are, SEC. We're here to help you. U.S. Forestry, National Park Services. I'm going to hesitate just for a moment as okay, all right, just about everybody's here. Charles, the government is making me take my money out of TSP. And that's not what I wanted to happen. I said, what did you want to happen? He said, I expected it was going to go to my wife and my kids. Now, I asked him, why did you keep your money at TSP like that? He said, well, all my coworkers, everyone was telling me to keep my money at TSP. I'm telling you, you need to make a plan for your TSP and other retirement savings that matches your goals and your aspirations. For nearly 15 years, my firm has been doing just that. We've been helping federal families match their current retirement savings with their goals and their dreams in retirement. I believe that you should know exactly how much money you need in retirement monthly. Not only that, what mix of investments makes sense for you, and whether it be at TSP, but also in the real world. And finally, have you tested your money to see if it will last a lifetime? Will your retirement plan last as long as you do? These are legitimate questions that you should absolutely have an answer for. And guess what? It comes with a written retirement income plan, which I'll show you about later. So with that being said, we want to show you the presentation here, some PowerPoint that we're going to use as an outline here. Retirement income planning, how, and by the way, for some of you who are just tuning in and you say, you know what, Charles, I know you're going to do a great job in the next 20, 25 minutes, but I have questions I want answered right now, and I don't need to wait around. So for you that are fitting into that category, you could click the calendar to the right. There's a little button, and it's a complimentary 15-minute phone call. I'm here to just hear what your concerns are. That's what's going to happen there. Just want to know what you want answered. And so, I see some of you are already doing it. Okay, Jack, Lauren, okay, Diane, Jose, I've got you. Okay, we'll take care of you. For the rest, let's go over what we're going to cover today. These are these three main brackets here. Number one, can you afford to retire? What are your monthly expenses? We're going to go through a little exercise there. Number two, TSP. Should it be stable or should it be in growth? Which is better? And number three, am I going to run out of money in retirement? Legitimate concerns and questions, all of them. So first, let's talk about, can you afford to retire, your monthly expenses? Okay, I love this because it's a very basic and easy way for you to understand how we may start to come up with what monthly expenses you need. So let's do this. You can see right here, this is a leave and earnings statement. Let's add it up and let's work backwards here. Your net pay that you bring home here is what you're living on. Agreed? Now, we're also going to use a pay stub from your spouse if they've got one too. They might be another federal employee, civil servant. They might be in the military. I have some that are. They're career military. You might have county, city, state employees, or any job that they have. Let's write it down. So first off, per pay period, expenses monthly. How much does it say there? We have 2006. Okay, now I said I'd work backwards. So you're not going to pay Medicare in retirement, but flex spending account. Well, you certainly can't have a flex spending account in retirement, but you're probably going to have out of pocket medical expenses. So let's include that, 83 bucks. We'll write FSA there. And then let's keep going up, even though let's just say it's out of pocket medical expenses. Checking savings, there's a $500 allotment. Well, that's where we get into a conversation. Where's that money going? A lot of times it's going to pay your bills, mortgage, utilities, the taxes or insurance. It could even be money for travel that you keep there and holidays. Well, if it is and it's going to continue, we'll put it in there. So let's list that 500 bucks. I'll just put there for now mortgage, okay? And then we have vision and dental. There you're going to keep that in retirement. Let's just do 24 and 6. So 30 bucks there for vision and dental. The dental's a lot more than vision, isn't it? Ooh, they charge a lot for dental work these days, just a cleaning. Oh, FEHB. Yeah, we need that. That's a federal employee health benefit. It's $196. Anything else that we're going to have in retirement? Yes. You see that option, FEGLI? That's a $10,000 flat death benefit. Well, that costs $6 once you reach age 60. I know what that is. So it's going to reduce to 0 at 65, but then the $10,000 is going to reduce to $2,500. So, but let's add it in there. And the basic group life. If you do a 75% reduction here, election, you're going to get rid of 75% of that, but at 65, the premium will be 0. But let's add it right now. 29 bucks, okay, for the FEGLI, Federal Employees Group Life Insurance. Okay, anything else in there? Nope. The taxes we're going to deal with in our planning software. So, if you're having a hard time getting all your expenses and you don't trust your leave-in earnings, other pay stubs in the family, you can go to cdfinancial.org, homepage, scroll to the bottom, right to the center right, just off the center to the right, lower side, there's going to be monthly expenses button. Click there. It's going to blow up a whole spreadsheet. It's even got pet care, lawn care, cleaning, like house cleaning expenses, hair and nails. It's got sports, hobbies, and what does it say? Lessons under entertainment. I have a family in Arizona comes to mind, and he said to me, Charles, we live well below our means, except for my golf hobby. I do not scrimp when it comes to golf. I have every club known to mankind, and I go to the nicest courses. Well, that's an expense. Now, let's stop it for a minute, and let's add this up, okay? Are you all ready for it? We've got the 2006 you're bringing home, $83 for medical expenses, and then this might be for the mortgage. That was an allotment. $30 for dental and vision, $196 for your health insurance, and then your $29 for your group life. We add them up, and all of a sudden, it gets to look pretty healthy on how much you're going to need. Meaning, it's a lot. 2006 plus $83 for out-of-pocket expenses. $500 for the mortgage, still $30 for dental and vision, $196 for the health insurance, $29 for the group life, and we have a total of $28.44. How often? That's right, every 2 weeks. Don't forget. So $28.44 times 26 pay periods. And how much do you need a year to live on? Well, based on this one leave-in earnings statement, $74,000. Now we divide by how do you get paid in retirement? Monthly. That's right. So divide by 12 months, and we get $6,162. Well, let's go ahead and call that. Let's add just a little bit in there. Round up like $100. Let's go $6,250. That is the beginning of how we start to plan for your monthly expenses. I love that exercise. I hope you do too, because I think it's really practical and useful to start to get you on that road to sorting out your monthly expenses. Can you afford to retire? Your monthly expenses. Now, let's keep going with the presentation. Next, we're going to talk about, so TSP, stable or growth? What fund should you be using? Well, current inflation, that's actually a tad low right now. Can you believe that? But in the last few years, wow, inflation's just got crazy. Okay, so we show that for a reason. That's really important to show you inflation because we've got this guy that's supposed to stay pace with inflation. What's the goal? Maintain a higher return than inflation without exposing the fund to risk of default or changes in market prices. What does that mean? That was a mouthful. It's supposed to do better than inflation without losing money. Well, inflation over the last 20 years has been about 3.35, excluding the last couple crazy years. What's the G fund done the last 10 years? You know what? About 2%, just under 1.98 as I record. That's crazy. Here's the problem with the G fund. Would you like to see the problem? I'm going to show it to you. Whoa, blew out my mouth. The G fund is not a quick enemy. Inflation is one of those slow guys. It happens really kind of slow. Insidious, your money shrinks and you lose purchasing power. What happened? You just weren't getting enough. And it's like a slow leaky tire. You know it's there, you can't find it, and then it just fades out. So you're going to want to have a mix. I'm not telling you to get out of the G fund, especially if you're within 3 years of retirement or you're already retired. And you may realize the G fund has really saved you, right? But it's just not getting it done. I'm going to show you the next slide, and we're going to talk about the F fund. Some people say, well, not many, but some say, well, I'll use the F fund, the bond fund, because it's done way better historically than the G fund. Has it the last 10 years? No, it's been the same. But when the Federal Reserve raises interest rates like they have been doing on a regular basis to control inflation, guess what happens to bond funds? They lose. Do you know what the return in the last year has been? On a look back in the F fund or the bond fund, which, by the way, is one of the highest quality bond funds known to man, I would say, honestly, that U.S. bond fund, it's lost almost 9%, negative 8.87%. Wow. We haven't seen a loss from stocks and bonds simultaneously like that for 40 years. It's a really rough place. You're going to need guidance. There's no doubt about it. So now let me show you that. We were talking about remember that yellow balloon just loses purchasing power. What's inflation like? It's like $20 in high school I found in my jeans once. I filled up my car with gas. I had a 1970 Buick Skylark I bought myself for $475. I worked on it myself. I went to King's Family Restaurant. I filled up the car with gas. I'm from Pittsburgh, so I filled up at King's. It was like a Denny's. Bought a burger and fries and a Coke and tipped the waitress all for $20. That's inflation. What can you do with $20 now? You certainly can't fill up your tank with gas, can you? So there's the F fund. Very dangerous place, the F fund. The C fund is the Charlie fund, I call it. It's the S&P 500. What's the S fund? Most people say, well, that's smaller. Yeah, it's basically everything but the 500 largest companies in the U.S. stock market. And then the I fund is international. Now, what is a proper mix? You say, let's take a look at the life cycle funds. In the L income fund, you say that you want your money to be very stable. You need it for income. You don't want it to suffer any losses. You say, I am so conservative to the TSP board. Please keep my portfolio conservative, extremely conservative. And yet, what do? The same thing that I was telling you. They have a mix. Even though it's 70% G fund, 30% of this portfolio is in stocks and that filthy F word, the F fund. They put your money 30%, almost 1/3 exposed to risk. Why? Why? Because they know the same thing I'm telling you. The G fund's not going to get the job done with inflation. And you need to have some mix. You have to have some long-term exposure to risk. You have to. And at the same time, you want to have assets set up for income that are stable. This is essential. But life is about balance and about moderation. You have to have a mix. And so they keep that mixed. So we've covered monthly expenses. Remember we did that exercise with your leave and earnings statement, your pay stub. Secondly, we've went over some ideas of stable, although it could lose money slowly from inflation, but it is necessary. And there might be other things available outside of the TSP that could pace inflation without exposing your money to risk of loss and still allow you withdrawal, maybe 10% annually. Very, very good idea. And then you've got, so we talked about TSP stable or growth, which is better. And then running out of money. Let's talk about that question, okay? We have 3 components to the FERS retirement. You got Social Security, your FERS pension, which we talked about in the past in other webinars, and then we have TSP. So how are you going to create the gap that your FERS pension and Social Security net are not making enough money to live on monthly? Well, you've got your TSP, don't you? And this TSP letter says something very interesting. It's one of the best pieces I've ever read from any federal agency. It is entitled, and it's only a few short paragraphs, July 2014, by the way, as a reference. Retirement income should be the outcome. So you always imagine for almost everyone that TSP would be for retirement income, discretionary spending, emergency fund, monthly expenses, to maintain your present lifestyle, to travel, whatever it is. It's retirement income, isn't it? Yes. So let's take a look at this. Strategies to make your money last longer. Some obvious things, right? Work longer if you can, even if it's part-time, to help boost your savings. Now, these bullet points, believe it or not, are right from the back of that letter. Don't invest your money too conservatively in your early savings years. Well, that's the G fund, but that's when you're young. And don't just wing it. TSP tells you this. Consult a financial planner if necessary. Hopefully a fiduciary, folks, one that is looking after your best interests. But I do see that sometimes people have a part-time job and it really takes the pressure off of their financial plan for several years. Questions to ask before withdrawing money from your account. And the question is, when should I begin withdrawing my money from TSP? How much do I think things will really cost during my retirement? Will I have enough income to cover my expenses? Will my retirement savings last my whole life? Do I need to provide income for my dependents? If you're gone, what's the plan for your spouse? Or if you have kids relying on you, maybe you have somebody with special needs, whatever the case may be. These are questions that need to be considered in a true and complete, holistic, written retirement income plan. Tailoring your withdrawal decisions to your personal needs. What other sources of income do you have outside of TSP? Maybe you've got rental properties. Goodness knows I've worked with plenty of federal families that have rental properties. Maybe you've got other retirement savings. There's plenty of that going around. IRAs, even Roth accounts that you consider insignificant because they're modest in size. They may be very useful. Will you be paying off a mortgage at some time during your retirement? Do you expect to work part-time after separating from service? Most folks don't expect to work full-time, but some do. Special provisions like air traffic controllers, law enforcement, firefighters, sometimes they'll get another job. Will you be moving on to an area? Typically, I've assisted folks to move on to areas that are less expensive and typically tax-free states like Nevada, Texas, Arizona, where it's 3%, income tax there, Washington State even, and areas like that. So these are things that you want to consider and that we have to tailor to your plan. And then, are you making a well-informed decision? Everyone's withdrawal choices will be based on different circumstances. Important thing, make sure you're knowledgeable when you're doing this. You're well informed, and that somebody's helped you to carefully think these things through, plan them, and test them to see if your income does in fact last as long as you do. Because in TSP, you have a lot of options. You can receive monthly payments. You can elect a lifetime annuity. Hardly anybody does that, but that's not for this discussion here, because you lose control of your money here. You can make a partial withdrawal of your TSP account or make a full withdrawal, or any combination of those four options. And listen, if you're younger than 59 and a half, you may very well have to leave money at TSP. We like to leave some balance at TSP, a modest percentage, but still some. But if you're younger than 59 and a half, to avoid the early withdrawal penalty of 10%, you need to leave money back there. If you're, say, 57 with 30 years of service and you want to retire and you're convinced that you can do it, we've come up with a plan, well then, some money's going to have to remain there. Partial withdrawals when separated. Guess what? Every 30 days, you can alter how much. Sometimes I hear things like, Charles, we actually don't need this much money. We're actually building up too much in savings. Or, Charles, it's not enough money. We need to withdraw more. Well, you can make those changes every month now. And you can make them monthly, quarterly, even annually. The nice thing about this is now you can't withdraw from specifically, say, just the G fund for income and leave the stock stuff that might be in fluctuation, losing money. They won't let you do that, but you can withdraw just from traditional instead of Roth. Or you can roll over the Roth TSP because you're going to gain full control over it, because at 72, remember, they're going to take control of your money. Thrift savings plan, tips for TSP distribution. So you want to figure out with your plan, how much income do you need from TSP to complement your pension and your Social Security? Even if you're going to draw monthly income from TSP, consider a partial withdrawal to an IRA to provide liquidity. What does that mean? It means if you've got an IRA set up and it's linked to your bank account, you could say, hey, I need $5,000 ASAP. How long will it take to get it? Sometimes in as little as 36 hours, 48 hours, in 2 days, just like that. If it's linked to your bank account, that's called liquidity. The only questions usually needing answered are, how much taxes do you want to withhold? And usually that question comes right back to us. What's our tax bracket? And we figure it out just for you. Let's look at some other concerns. Actually, techniques: develop a plan for creating the required income you need while keeping control of your asset. That's why I was warning against getting that payment lifetime from the TSP, because it locks your money up. You'll never have access to it again. Or will your money last as long as you do? And when I say access, I mean lump sum. You won't have it anymore, because you're gonna have to make an election on payments for life or something to that effect, a certain period of time. Will your money last as long as you do? What have you done to ensure that? What have you done to make sure that you won't run out of money? Because will you live to be 100? Well, I'll tell you, folks in my age bracket, the average age is 91. Wow, it's very common. There is a statistic that says, it says this: if you and your spouse are 65, there's a 50% chance that one of you will reach age 92. That's pretty old. If you both make it to 65, one of you has got a 50% chance of making it well into your 90s. So you got to test this to see if your money's going to last a lifetime. So let's look at this one snapshot about negative numbers, because they are so dangerous. If you've got a mere 100,000 and you lose 20%, what do you actually have now? 80,000. Now, if you're just withdrawing 4% for income, you're actually down to 76,000. How much do you have to gain to get back to even? Well, some of you are saying, oh, I got $1 million in my TSP. Listen, I've worked with TSPs that are in excess of 2 million, but just add a zero. If you got $1 million and you lose 20%, you got 800,000. They're a big loss now. And you take 40 grand for income annually. That's not that much. When you divide by 12, that's $3,250, $3,300. Yeah. You're down to 760,000. How much do you have to gain to get back to even? Over 31%. Negative numbers are dangerous. You've got to find out if you've got a plan that keeps your monthly income away from market losses and losses of rising interest rates. So the question might come to you, do you work with people like me? Of course I do. Whether you have 200,000 in your TSP or 2 million or other retirement savings, we are here to help you create that plan. Absolutely, no doubt about it. So what's going to happen during your 15-minute complimentary phone call? You click on that link that's there on the right, and all I'm going to do is say what concerns you right now. Tell me why you want to talk. And that's it. It's complimentary. Remember, there's small adjustments, small little adjustments. And a ship's rudder is very small. So I should take it back here, right? Small little adjustments in a ship's rudder has a massive impact on the direction of that vessel. And little adjustments to your planning can have a huge impact. Believe me when I say this. And I'll tell you why I say this in just a moment. I want to finish this up here. I want you to enjoy all the little things in life with those that you love. I want you to be able to picture that day with a comprehensive financial plan. It can get you there. Where there's income planning involved, we've talked a lot about that. The investment planning we've touched on quite a bit too. That should match first and foremost your income needs. There's also going to be tax planning, healthcare planning, and legacy planning. This refers to long-term care. And then legacy planning. Written retirement income plan. When will your paychecks start? Where will they come from? How long will they last? How much will they be worth? And how will they grow over time? So, do you remember that gentleman? In the beginning, he said, I had no idea they were going to take control of my retirement savings. I wanted it to go to my wife and kids. Just today, I spoke with a family, and they said, Charles, this is so fantastic. 8 years ago, we started, and almost all our money is tax-free. It belongs to us because of the plan that you put in place. I want you to get there to that plan. I want you to say, boy, oh boy, that was fantastic. And this is what our written retirement income plan looks like. We call it a CRC, a chartered retirement course. That's what it is. What does it do? It lists all your monthly expenses. It shows us a Social Security sequence. It shows us your sources of income, all of them, whether it's pension, could be military pension too, VA disability, could be your retirement savings from TSP, whatever it is. It'll show your risk tolerance and your investment plan and how long that money will last. It's fantastic. You should absolutely have one of those. We are here to help you because I believe retirement should be peaceful and you should have all the confidence in the world, sleeping like babies and planning those trips and going and helping those kids and your wife or husband coming up to you saying, honey, thank you so much for planning this trip. Thank you so much for arranging this and for doing such a good job. If you want to have that feeling, we're here to help you. Okay. Thank you so much. Hey, we're going to keep that up for you now. And that link to my calendar. And for those of you who need to, click on it and we're here to help you. By the way, I do this same instruction, but on an expanded 7-hour all day, very engaging for federal agencies. So if you know somebody or you are that somebody that can approve funds and schedule for your agency, please reach out to us. Click on that calendar, send us an email, info@cdfinancial.org, or call us at 949-359-5100, 359-5100. Thank you so much. Look forward to talking and helping you all out very soon. Thanks again.